That last one was at Kirk Park. This is Olive Shores Park. I guess I'm park hopping. And you can disagree with me, and you can see what you want to see. Don't mean to see this place like a blank slate, but I do, and I'm writing a page or two ahead of you all the time, all the time, all the time, all the time. I'm trying to see what rhymes work with what rhymes, and I know you can disagree with that whole premise of exploring time. Exploring time like a rhyme, and unfolding like a song in your mind that wasn't in your mind before. It's like a moving part that doesn't know it's moving, like a heart that doesn't know it was frozen all this time. All this time. All this time. And it has to learn new tricks here this time. All this time, all this time, all this time. That's how I write songs. And then I don't like most of them, but like, not to be mean to my own song babies, but they're just moments in time, you know? They're ways that I work out the world because for some reason my heart doesn't work. My heart doesn't work, my brain doesn't work, my everything. It's probably, well, I could list a bunch of possible diagnoses. But songs help me to say things that are a little more true. And I mean, there's an Adrienne Lenker line about that from her 2014 album, that she just can't lie inside a song. And I think that feels true for me too. I think I don't realize how big of a liar I am until I'm writing songs. And then songs just kind of capture the underlying emotion and they try to give it words. And the words are just often different than what I thought would come out of my mouth. There's something about getting half of your brain lost in the poetry of music. Sounds backwards, but it's true. And when the thinking part of your brain is lost in a chord progression or a melody, and your mouth just wants to sing, and you're kind of confined by what rhymes you can choose, you don't have to rhyme, which is why my rhyme schemes are so weird. Because if I don't feel like writing a rhyme at a particular moment, I don't. And then I might rhyme with that new line that didn't rhyme before, but now rhymes to another rhyme. And that's why most of my chord progressions are meandering too. If I'm really honest, I'm just having some problems with feeling engulfed by other people's energy, other people's wants, other people's stories, other people's needs. Feeling engulfed by narratives that are not my own. Feeling engulfed by other people's opinions. Whether it's groups or singular people, just feeling completely and totally drowned out inside myself by loud voices that don't allow myself to contradict them, even in the ether. And maybe that's why I became a sort of warrior spirit for the quiet people. And you may not think I'm quiet, but I am quiet. I'm not quiet in terms of talking, I'm quiet in terms of truth. Like if there's two people in a room and one person's going to be the one to speak out and say, hey, the thing that I need is X, or the thing that you're doing is annoying me. It's never me. It's rarely me. I don't state a preference for what I want to do for the day. When I'm around other people, I don't state a preference for what I need. I don't state preferences at all. And I don't even know what they are most of the time. And it's like ghosting your own life, and it sucks. But the alternative would lead to conflict. And conflict leads to really bad problems. And in my history, it's led to me speaking up, leads to conflict, leads to people acting really volatile around me, which leads to me later having to listen to them ask for my forgiveness. And so it's easier, if people are going to react so strongly to my truths, it's easier to just not share them and not have personal truths too loudly, because that way it keeps everyone from being volatile around me. And in other words, that's just giving in to everyone else, which isn't great. Yeah, it's not great. But I think what I've been realizing is that I like being an artist. Like, I like being a creative weirdo, and I like having free time, and I like having a job that works fewer hours than other people because I make pretty decent money as a piano teacher, and there's only certain hours a a week that kids can take lessons or want to take lessons, and I make enough to do what I need to do. And in making that enoughness, all the enoughness that I make, I'm able to support myself, and I could probably take quite a few more students and make even more if I wanted to live a more stressful life. But I probably wouldn't feel as much like an artist. And doing this makes me feel like an artist. And writing songs and being whimsical and free-spirited makes me feel like an artist. And I am an artist. Like, I get that I am a songwriter and a writer and a dreamer and a doodler and all those things. And I like being who I am. I feel a strange conflict in my soul between how hard the world is and how hard we have to work for things that we want. And yeah, I think maybe that's part of it. If you speak up and you really become yourself, like if you really speak up for what you want, then you have to do the work for it. And I think the part of me that's ghosting my own life is sometimes, not always. I mean, I'm also working on a studio album right now with a really great studio engineer, and I'm doing things, but that's a tangent. But I think if I'm honest, yeah, ghosting my own life falls in a little similar category of zooming out like a bird as an artist, as a poet, as a writer, as a thinker, as a person who analyzes the world instead of lives in it. Just look at these weather conditions. I mean, it's snowy and crazy out. I mean, who wants to be somebody if you don't have to be? Who wants to be somebody who really lives in the elements and really gets messy down here? Builds a house or starts a business that involves getting a building and paperwork, or buys a house. I mean, there's so many things I haven't done yet that are adult things that my dreamer artist soul kind of has tried to maybe avoid. But maybe even though they're kind of adult things, like buy a house or have kids, or even if it's adopt, because I'm getting old. There's a lot of adult things that maybe that's part of the reason I feel so much of a pull towards my family, namely my brother's family and my sister's family, is because they're doing those adult things, and every time I go there I kind of realize what I'm missing out on by living this ghosting my own life, dreamer, slow motion, trapped in my early 20s or whatever it is. I mean, I used to say I had Arrested Development from like 8 years old, but really it's that, it was that. And I wrote that one song about it, Lake Michigan, but then it's also, moving to Chicago and trying to do the music game, and that was my 20s, and it was like, it was going well in a way. But I had a lot of life conditions around me that were derailing and detracting from it, and maybe that's as it was meant to be, but I was given a lot of opportunities to get out of those bad conditions, put it that way. And I didn't take them because I must have had some things to learn.